Well, today millions will gather around their screens in their living rooms, packed in bars, for one of the biggest spectacles in American, the Super Bowl. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited, right? It's more than just a game. It's a tradition, a ritual of something that brings people together across generations. But think about this. What makes events like the Super Bowl so powerful? It's not just the players on the field, but the belief, the unity, the devotion of the fans, the same things that have held faith and religion together for thousands of years. But in today's world, the same kind of people who celebrate the passion in sports turn around and attack passion and faith. They mock belief. They label devotion as outdated. They push a world where faith, the one of the oldest and strongest human tradition, is seen as something to be discarded. Why is it that blind loyalty to a sports team is respected, but faith in something greater is ridiculed? Why is it that a stadium full of fans can chant with all their hearts, but a church with believers is seen as a problem? The answer isn't just about a culture, it's about control. Today, we are going to talk about how faith, just like the Super Bowl, was meant to bring people together, to give them something bigger than themselves. But somewhere along the way, the same force that profit from distraction have worked to tear down the belief system itself. And if we're not paying attention, we might just lose something far more important than just a championship ring. Karl Marx, often remembered for his role in drafting and publishing the Communist Manifesto for the Communist Party, is also widely associated with the phrase of calling religion the opiates of the masses. However, if there's anything more fitting of that description today, it's professionals. Every football season, millions of Americans structure their weekends around the NFL. I live near Green Bay, and I've lived in Gainesville, Florida, for the Gators. So if there's anybody that's been around people who overreact and live and breathe and act like a weird cult, I've been there, man. I've seen them all. They're just living and breathing every game. Their emotional state hinges on whether their team wins or loses. And with the Super Bowl championship hailed as they performed heroic rescues rather than just playing the game. Today, folks, the Super Bowl is the sheer intensity of which people track player stats while remaining oblivious to basic history or civic knowledge. It's remarkable. It's absolutely blows my mind. You know, George Orwell captured this phenomenon in his novel 1984, describing how people's minds were filled with trivial distractions. You know, sports, alcohol, petty quarrels, sinnings, all that's good stuff. All to keep them easily controlled. Playing sports has a real value, fostering teamwork and discipline. But modern professional leagues have transformed it into something more akin to a religion laced with political agendas and ideological messages. The spectacle of sports isn't just entertainment anymore. It's a delivery system for propaganda. Stadiums today resemble the Roman Colosseum, once used to pacify the masses with distraction. The concept of bread and circus, where rulers provided entertainment to keep populations docile, originated in Rome, but it's just as relevant today. Instead of focusing on social or political issues, people are absorbed in the next big game. Beyond just ideology, professional sports are deeply entangled with institutions like the military-industrial complex. Taxpayers foot the bill for extravagant military flyovers at NFL games, a not-so-subtle recruiting tool. In 2015, it came to light that the Pentagon had paid the NFL millions to feature enlistment ceremonies, leading to legislative efforts to curb these hidden expenditures. We're seeing a lot of this stuff being, let out into the open air, lately. The best sanitizer is sunlight, as they say. We're just footing the bill for this. Meanwhile, corporate and activist interests have also leveraged sports as a platform for social messaging. The NBA, for instance, partnered with executives like Sheryl Sandberg to promote feminist campaigns, broadcasting messages about gender roles through star athletes. This transformation in sports into an ideological battleground extends beyond the NBA. Networks today interject discussions about racial representations in hockey and golf, and sports commentators openly express bias against certain athletes based on. During the COVID lockdowns, the NBA not only resumed play in isolated bubble, but used the platform to make political statements. Courts were painted with slogans reinforcing ideological narratives, and the NFL faced controversy over the national anthem. The tradition of standing in respect became a battleground when Colin Kaepernick chose to kneel, igniting a national debate. Hollywood, media elites, and activists celebrated him as a hero, while the tradition itself came under. Can you imagine that? People were so bored back then. They were just hitting bullseyes at the wrong ticket, Mark Cuban even attempted to quietly remove the national anthem from the Dallas Maverick games in 2020, only to restate it after backlash. Athletes like Drew Brees were pressured into issuing public apologies for simply expressing their belief in standing for the flag. Can you imagine that? I think he made a video. The NFL went as far as to introduce what it called the Black National Anthem. You'll hear it tonight, before reinforcing the idea that even patriotism itself had to be divided along racial lines. Man, oh man. Beyond the cultural battles, the cost of professional sports is staggering, not just financially, but physically. The toll on athletes is immense, with the countless cases of long-term brain damage, debilitating injury. Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw even admitted he wouldn't even let his own son play the game. High school students suffer fatal injuries on the field, while NFL in 2013 settled a massive lawsuit over its cover-up of brain trauma risk. Whoa, cover-ups, man. Absolutely crazy. Who knew, right? None of this is to say that sports should be abandoned altogether. There is value in competition, discipline, and physical fitness. We need all these things in our lives, but we don't need them to be laced and manipulated. But the obsessive idolization of professional athletes chasing a ball is infantile. There are more far productive ways to spend your time: reading, learning a new skill, engaging in meaningful hobbies. The idea that the weekend must be devoted to watching games is a sign of diminished mindset, a programmed response to an artifact. Even the Super Bowl is supposed to be a pinnacle of the American entertainment, has devoted into marketing circus with overpriced commercials designed to sell processed food and dubious products. If a person needs a celebrity endorsement and a flashy advertisement to keep them entertained, they may already be too far. Seeing through the manufactured spectacle of modern sports culture is liberating. Instead of blindly participating in the ritual, it's worth asking oneself, is this really entertainment, or is it just another tool for distraction?